See you
Let's
guys.
go. Well, that's pretty special, Jessica. That's like,
Ah, I'm
damn.
glad you're here, John. John's my favorite, one of my favorite names. My dad and my brother's name. It's a good
Now I'm
name.
here for now I can be your favorite Canadian.
Yeah. I love that. I love my Canadians. Hi, Samia. Is it Samia? Is that how you say your name?
Where is she?
It's Samia.
Samia, beautiful name.
Thank you so
Hello
much.
from the Bay Area. That's where I moved to Los Angeles from.
Oh.
Los Angeles makes zero sense to anyone from the Bay Area, but it's a great place to make money. So what's up, Bill? Good morning. So Peggy, thanks for having me. What's the run of show? I'm so excited to be with your group. Hey, Bill.
This is like amazing to have you on. And this
Aw.
group is so awesome. We've been doing this for almost 2 years now. As most of you know, I am part of Gene's leadership coaching group. And I went to him with an idea and he said, run with it. And I said, I want like a talk show, kind of do what you want type of Zoom. I want everybody to participate, bring value, have great speakers, and also find speakers who are in our group. And a lot of the agents also contribute. Sometimes we're a large group, sometimes we're a small, intimate group. We really never know, but we always
I
go,
love both.
what's supposed to be here is here. So
Yes.
we're super stoked to have you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Do you give it a few minutes or
Yeah,
do you
give
have any housekeeping? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So
Bill,
what's
good to
going on?
see you.
What I like to do is just kind of check in with everybody.
Yeah, I love that.
Jessica, where are you in Los Angeles?
So I'm actually in North County, San Diego and Carlsbad.
Oh,
But I
okay.
sell primarily in Los Angeles. Most of my team is in Los Angeles County.
Okay.
So I, by
That's a
a
good county.
creature of habit, I say Los Angeles because then when people think of Jessica, they go, "Oh, she's in Los Angeles." I could send her a referral, and my team loves me for that.
Okay. Yeah, Los
Yeah.
Angeles County is huge. I grew up down
It
there.
is. Oh, okay. Where do you live in the Bay Area?
San Mateo, near
Oh, beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
super familiar. I love it.
But used to live in Pasadena and Hollywood, so big,
Ah,
big
nice.
area.
Hollywood.
Yes, it is.
I love
Hey,
being
Watson. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I didn't know you're from Pasadena, so I mean, just where we are.
Well, yeah, part of my life was in Pasadena. I got married.
Oh, well, come home anytime, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, my mom
Peggy, you're in
says.
Dana Point. You're back in Dana Point now?
Sorry?
Oh, Peggy, you're back.
I'm in Dana Point. Yes.
Oh, we could catch up again. Beautiful.
Yes, we can. And you know what? My friend who I'm staying with, her whole family was in Pasadena.
Really?
Yes, I'll tell you, we'll have to talk about that later. Yes.
Sure.
So, okay, you
Love
guys,
Pasadena.
share what's going on. I want to hear something good before we get started.
Big event today with Larry Kendall and Don Hobbs. That's what's going on.
Right at 9 o'clock. Well, 9
Super
o'clock,
exciting.
right?
9 o'clock Pacific.
1 o'clock Pacific.
Not 9 o'clock Pacific. 9 a.m.
Yeah, that's what I said, 9 a.m. Okay, good. I was getting confused there. Please. I'm trying.
Jessica, do you have the info on that?
I do.
I do.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm excited. Don's just so fantastic. He puts amazing stuff together.
I sent 300 text messages in the last few days.
And how many responses?
Well, several actually, and I was sending more this morning, and I probably will be quietly texting my friends this morning to remind them. So
Very
yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Very, very, very cool. All right. Well, I don't want to waste time on this with our speaker's time. Jessica, let's just talk about who you are and why you're on and your excitement and what we're going to do for this group today, because it's all about getting listings, right, everybody?
Yes, it is all about getting listings. So I'm Jessica Nieto. I'm a real estate broker in the state of California. I'm also licensed in Oregon. I've been licensed in a couple states, actually. My partner and I, for about 12 years, we were doing some flips and some different investments in other states. So I like to say that my role at EXP is to be a person that is an ambassador of our brand and our values. And that's something that's been so important to me, because a lot of people, like when I'm at events, they'll say, do you work at EXP? Like, no. And I get that a lot. It's sort of like when you're walking to the store and somebody asks you, like, do you know where the blah, blah, blah is? Oh, you don't work here. I'm sorry. That's just been part of who I am my whole life. And I think that it has a lot to do with the way that I engage with other humans. And that's how I built a really good community at EXP. So for Peggy, for example, we met at an event called Horizon back in Orange County within the last few months. And I think Peggy and I I think we interacted for like a total of 2 minutes. She was flying out the door. I was talking with someone else and I said something, I'm not sure what the words were, but we turned around and was like, hey, who are you? And Peggy's like, who are you? And let's connect. And okay, let's stay connected. And what I wanted to talk to you all about today, and I'm really bad at edifying myself, but I'll give you a little bit of love. Like, I think the only person I've met here is Bill. Bill and I did success coaching certification together. And then Peggy and I briefly met and we're just getting to know each other. But for those of you that don't know me, I've been at EXP since 2020. I've just hit my 5th Icon Award. I don't know, do the math, but somehow I'm on my 5th Icon Award since 2020, April of 2020. And I run a team called the Nieto Connect team. We're in the top 25. Good morning, Guy. How are you? Glad to have you. Hey, Yvonne. And so our team, our predictivity this year, we're just hit over 100 and we're about 110 million so far into the year and over 100 listings personally, myself. My average price point is about $675. So I sell properties in the Inland Empire, around 450, 500, all the way up to $1.5 million out in the Valley in Los Angeles. So I live in North County, San Diego, and blah, blah, blah. The reason why I like to tell you why I sell so much real estate is because I think that's why we all want to know what's the magic sauce, what's the blueprint, and how the heck are you going to help me get out there and list 100 homes, right? So how many of you are in production at eXp Realty, actively selling real estate? Okay, so pretty much everyone. Yvonne, are you selling real estate?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I think what I like to share in these groups is that we don't have to completely change what we're doing or reinvent ourselves every year when we start reflecting on what was working this year and what we want to change and what we want to do next year. Sometimes it's just the smallest adjustments that we can make to completely change our life. Little tiny habits at a time. And so I have a question for all of you that I want you to ask yourself. This is something that my team and I have been reflecting on. And the question is this: what is the one belief that you have about yourself that is not true? Does anybody want to share? What you got, Bill?
That's a deep one for early in the morning. I got to think about that.
It's early, so I want you to sit with that question.
Okay.
It may not even be something that we immediately know, but something occurred to me in the last few years. When I came to EXP and you're doing a lot of production, they'll ask you like, hey, come and teach a class. And one of the beliefs that I had about myself was that I really didn't have anything to share, because the way that I've created so much business in my career has been through building relationships with investors, big investors. So I thought, well, I can't really teach anybody how to do this. I don't really know if I could run a team because I don't door knock, I don't do expireds, I don't do all those things. Right? So what I realized is when I flipped that script, well, I do know how to build relationships. I do know how to negotiate. I do know how to do all of these other things really well. So how can I build a team and be a leader of a team and plug into EXP and use all the resources that we have at EXP Realty to help train and coach them through the skill sets? And I help them with the mindset and the soul set. And it's so crazy how many of my team members on a day-to-day, the little tiny adjustments is where they feel the most growth. And those are the reasons that they come to me and say, Jess, you've changed my life and my business. not because you showed me how to, exactly the scripts for calling expireds, but because you helped me with the little tiny things such as. So I wanted to give you guys some examples today of how my team is generating business. And every time I come into a group, like every group's different, right? So I want to get to know you guys just a little tiny bit before we jump into this. Does anyone want to jump in and tell me currently how they're generating business? And if you're doing listings. Hi, Dee Dee. Does anybody want to jump in? I need some engagement because it's 6 a.m. over here. So,
Okay.
hey, Monica.
I am here.
Dee Dee, how are you in production?
Me here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm a newer agent, but yes, I am full swing.
Newer agents are my favorite. You come in with such a great perspective.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of my favorite examples is like when you come in as a new agent, you're not a new human, right? You're not necessarily new in your community. You have other skills.
At my age, I'm definitely not a new human.
Well, you're a young looking human. So what did you come from? What's your background before you came into real estate?
Way before I was in TV and film for many years, and then I went into
Perfect.
property management for almost 16 years, and then property investing for 2 years, and then finally my license almost 2 years ago.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I'm here to help others, not just myself here.
Yeah, I
So
love
it's
that.
been fun, and Peggy and the whole crew here have been amazing at helping me get started. So I appreciate them, and I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, awesome. So it's interesting what you shared, Dee Dee, because your background is so dynamic and everything absolutely aligns with real estate. So I'm super excited to hear that. Bill, what are you doing with real estate right now? How are you generating business?
I'm very belly to belly, honestly. COVID actually really, my best years actually were right before COVID, not during COVID, because I, serve on the United Way board. I was the president of our children's museum in Akron, things of that nature. And the meetings carried on, but they looked a lot like this. And you don't really get to know people this way sometimes. We're getting better at it. But certainly in 2020, 21, we didn't really, have a chance to talk and catch up afterwards. Like, oh, I've been meaning to ask you this, that, or the other. But I'm back. Everything was fine, but it's just, that definitely put a damper on my business. And I did have to be a little bit more intentional about reaching out to the people I want to talk to rather than just talking to them when I see them.
Yeah, that makes sense. So would you say you're getting together in person with those groups now more often?
I am, yeah. I'm actively involved in leadership with both of those organizations and others. But I'm also much more intentional now of, okay, these are my 90-day touches and I'm going to reach out to them. One of my main listing strategies, if somebody says they're thinking about selling 6 years from now, I ask them if they're available to get together to discuss it tomorrow. Just being that first person in there. They always are going to have ROI, return on investment questions on projects they're thinking about. So that's been huge. And I've got a large book of listings that will be coming in the next 5 years, and hopefully they're coming with me.
Yeah, the pipeline is in full effect. I absolutely love that. So I'm not a big slide deck person because I want to see all your faces, but I did want to run through a couple of these things because I think visuals are important. And this seems like a really amazing group. I know it's early, so let's do before we jump into this stuff and I'm just talking at you a bunch, let's get like our arms stretched up a little bit and just like breathe out some smiles or whatever face expression comes out is fine. Like it doesn't have to be a smile, but some kind of movement of the body. And, I woke up this morning and the first thing that I did was I text my dad and I text my niece and I said, good morning. I love you. My wife and I had coffee. Hopefully I don't bail on my golden retriever here. And I'm just surrounded by blessings. And I think, one of the things we could do is we get up, we get out of bed and we're just kind of like, okay, like what's the first thing on the calendar? And maybe not all of you are guilty of this, but I know that when I get into a rut, what I notice is that the little things that serve me and the little tiny things that I do throughout my day is actually like what keeps me going and what keeps the energy flowing through my body. And a lot of people, you know, they might think of certain producers in your marketplace or people that you see at EXP achieving lots of success, and you think, oh wow, like, you know, that I must be more like that. But the truth is like, what do most people do when they become very wealthy? They start changing their habits that impact their health, right? They start getting healthier. They start getting maybe thinner, or, you know, whatever it is, because once you have pretty much everything that you could possibly think of, like you're blessed with maybe family, or you're blessed with, you know, time, location, all the things, what do you focus on? Well, you want to live longer, right?
Mhm.
So I want to invite you all, like with me today, to think about that question that I asked you. What is the one belief you have about yourself that is not true? And really spend this time, not focus so much on what am I going to do completely different in 2025, but what are the small adjustments that I can make, and where are you right now? And I think that's the part as entrepreneurs that sometimes we will skip over. I say we because I don't want to be saying you all the time. I just, it doesn't feel good to point the finger at a group. But in this season of October, we have less than 60 days till December 20th. I always know how many days till December 20th once it gets into about this time, because I know with my investors how many properties that I need to get closed before December 20th, before they're on break and it's end of year. So for me, I'm looking at it like, well, that also includes about 24-ish days, 20-ish days that we have that are holidays or weekends. So what are we spending our time doing on those days? Because one of the best things that we could be doing is reflecting and taking an assessment of where we are. And what I mean by where are we right now is taking a deep look at what's worked this year, what brought you joy, what parts of your business did you love, who do you get excited to talk to, and see how you can multiply that and get rid of a lot of the things that don't bring you joy or are not working. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about what my team is doing that's working right now. This is a presentation I used the other day, so some of it I won't bore you with the whole thing. But when I show this slide, I feel like, oh, Jessica's just going to tell us about 8 ways that we already know how to generate business. Ugh, right? Like we already know that you can, you know, there's referral business, video texts are working, open houses are working, expired listings, but that's not for us. So if none of this is for you, I want you to take this visual and add another dot, like whatever thing it is that you tried that maybe worked a little bit. I want you to revisit those strategies or pillars or niches or whatever you want to call them in your mind. And I need like 2 volunteers to tell me what their pillar is. And I'm going to start with open houses. So get ready with your shares. So I have an agent. She's had a total of 2 listings. She's a brand new agent, and she's got her 2nd listing on the market. And she came to me and she said, Jessica, I want you to teach me how I can create more business, because it's a Rocket Homes lead. Plus you gave it to me and my team split. So it's like 30% to Rocket Homes and then the 25% split. And I'm just trying to change my mindset, because you've shared with me that, you know, even though it's a little bit and it's a small deal, it's, you know, $495,000 condo. I want to know how I can take this condo and turn it into more business. So how many of you have heard agents, especially newer agents, sometimes it'll say like open houses don't work, or agents that are older in the business, they say open houses don't work. You don't sell houses at open houses, right? Anybody hear agents say that?
As a team leader, I heard it all the time. Yes.
You hear it all the time. So
yeah.
How many people do you think were inside this condo inside of 2 days of an open house? 80 groups of people came to this open house. 80 groups of people, 20 offers, 7 buyer leads, and 2 sellers. And we spent $225. Had 2 agents at the open house. My agent's like over the moon. She's like, Jessica, it worked. but she also knocked on 90 doors.
Mm-hmm.
She made 50 calls, and she invited the neighbors. She contacted the HOA. Like, she went above and beyond, right? She baked cookies. She also got the lead in April, and it went from a hoarder house to an absolutely beautifully staged property for an old couple that are retired and are moving to Tennessee to buy a home and kind of cash out with the equity that they have left. So she not only helped these people, but what she did was she created an experience. So what I want you all to think about it, whether you're practicing or you have a team of agents or you're coaching agents, is that open houses work, but you have to effectively do open houses. We control the environments at an open house. Isn't that cool? You think, like, where can I go meet people and, like, you know, like, interact and, like, make a contact and try to build a relationship? That's a long game. And I'm not saying it's not a great game. I do that actively. But at an open house, what you're doing is you're creating an experience in an environment that you control, and you're able to market, you know, in as far in advance as a week you have to market an event. Most people don't, you know, they don't even plan to go to things past like a week in advance. So you've got a lot of time. I have a complete strategy from like my entire standard operating procedure for my open houses that I will share with you all if you're interested.
Yes.
If you email me, email me, or I'll just send it to you, Peggy, and you can send it out, or you can email me at jessica@jessicanieto.com. Also on my website, I, like Peggy, like, I do a weekly mastermind. I do it Mondays at 4. You're all welcome. It's brand agnostic. It's super fun. And we talk about listings, but it mostly gets into mindset and things like that, and have people come in and share. So that's jessicanieto.com. So effective open houses, attend or create events, community engagement, and build awareness. So like Bill was sharing, we've got Extend a Hand EXP Community Day coming up on October 7th. I've met some of my best friends doing community work, especially if you're moving into a new area. It is one of the most fantastic ways to build rapport with people. And the reason is because you have common interests and probably similar values, and you're both passionate about a cause that you're connecting on. So does anyone have questions about open houses? I'm happy to stay here a little longer or keep moving. But the point that I wanted to make was, rather than, you know, like, hey, I'm going to go put up a couple signs and I'm going to find an open house to do, we actually really dig deep into it. So what are the areas that we're working on? If it's not our listing for an open house, which I've always got listings for the agents to hold open, but we'll go out and look for agents that have open houses in areas where we know that it's going to be super hot. And then from like day one that we decide we're going to do the open house on this property, we put together our marketing plan, and we have like a whole standard operating procedure. Like I said, I'll share with you. Does anyone have questions on that? All righty. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, when we look at these different strategies and we talk about divorces, referrals from past clients, investors, like, you're like, okay, yeah, that's a whole list of reasons or a list of ways to get business. But when I tell you that I'm listing this week a $1.1 million listing from a referral with an awesome lady, Christy in Virginia, an EXP agent. She posted on a referral page. I reached out to her, and what I did was I built a connection with her, and the conversation goes a little like this. Well, it's asking questions instead of telling her all about me. Right, Peggy? And how do we build relationships faster with people? They say you can build closer friendships within a few months than you can in 2 years if you make it more about them and less about you. And I think, you know, with social media, Facebook, whatever platform that you're on more often, you have to put a little bit of yourself out there, and like, oh, you know, people are attracted to that. But at the same time, like, what are you doing to share about others, and how are you engaging with others on social media? I have a couple agents that have come onto my team, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't want to like reply back to comments or, you know, do a whole lot of that. I didn't know that that's a thing. And I'm like, that's exactly how you generate business on social media. So we could go down that whole rabbit hole, but if y'all are not using social media every day, if you're not posting every day, that's fine, but try to spend at least 20 minutes going onto Facebook and actually engaging in people's content and actually picking up the phone and saying, hey, congratulations with your son graduating high school. That is fantastic. Be the person that picks up the phone and talks to people about what they're sharing on Facebook. It blows their freaking minds. Like even calling someone and saying happy birthday on the phone these days is wild. Samia, you agree? Have you had that experience? Yeah, it's amazing. And people really crave that connection and that interaction. So this is my,
Especially on birthdays, Jessica. It's so
yeah.
I've been doing videos because I don't want to disturb people in calling, but it personal
Sure.
with a video.
What's one of the recent reactions that you got from that video that you could share?
Oh, people are
Like a
blown
reply.
away because I
Yeah.
share the Samia rule, which is if your birthday ends in a 0 or a 5 and you're 40 and over, you celebrate for a year. Otherwise, for a month. And I gave that to Gene this year, and he was loving it. So
Oh, I love that.
just makes
You
them
know,
laugh. It's something to make
yeah,
them laugh.
I was on a call with a group in Atlanta a couple months ago, and we did a video challenge. So the video challenge was to just send a video randomly to people, contacts in your phone, and to say hello and that you're thinking of them and you wanted to check in on them and hope they're having an awesome day and maybe share, something inspiring or something that's on your mind. And then the challenge was to then send me a screenshot of the video and the response. I was in tears. I couldn't believe it. How many people actually participated in the challenge? I had 17 people reach out to me with their screenshots. And some of the shares were like, I don't know how you knew this, but I needed this today more than you can imagine.
Mhm.
Isn't that wild? And I think sometimes in this business that, or many entrepreneurs, the mindset is like, hey, prospecting can be hard sometimes because I feel like I'm putting my hand out. Right. And we change that and we ask ourselves. So my team and I, we ask ourselves these questions to help like reframe, which is, what are the problems that I solve each day? What are the transformations that I provide? What are the legacies that I help build? And when you ask yourself those questions, it sort of reframes it, right? Like, I am out today to connect with people, to provide good resources, education, and information to connect them to home ownership and building legacy and wealth for them and their family. Changes it up, right? Like, go ahead.
This is Tucker Overstreet in Dallas.
Hey,
if you don't do it now, please address how you attract other agents, like this new agent that came onto your team.
It's funny. Hey, Sarah, good to see you. Drive safe. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I'm just kidding. I'm the mama bear when everyone's driving. My team will come onto the team meetings and I'm like, don't look at me. Thanks for being here, Sarah. Good morning. So attracting agents to my team, gosh, I would say it's probably almost exactly the same in the way that I attract clients. One of the limiting beliefs that I used to have when I had a team a couple of years ago, it was kind of small and mighty. We all worked in investments. And I had a belief that I needed to continue to have my office in Newport Beach. I needed to, sort of create a space that was perfect for everyone. And that was the only way I was going to be able to bring agents to the team. And I needed to offer the world to them. Right. And what I changed about my belief is that I don't. And two, if I tell people and I set a standard for exactly what they can expect without giving them, I always give more than they expect, but without setting an expectation that burns me out, that I will attract similar type people that want to learn from me.
Exactly.
And my mentor will always tell me, he's like, Jess, it's so funny to me how surprised you are by people wanting to give you 25% split or to be on your team or to pay you for something or that you receive, you know, an award or whatever. It's so funny to me that you're surprised. But it's because you're humble. I'm always forward thinking, right? I'm like, okay, here I am and I'm grateful for where I am, but I'm like, what's next? That's just how I am, right? And so in this team, my journey that I launched this team in the beginning of the year, the Nieto Connect team, and I haven't really been recruiting a lot, but I'll tell you the word of mouth is what's helped me grow my team so organically. So I share with the team how to share about our team. And it is incredible because they're the ones boots on the ground, like really interacting with agents a lot. And so I figure if they find someone that's like-minded that also likes what they're doing and they're impressed with how they're producing, then they're going to be interested in joining my team. So I've grown my team to 18 agents in the last 6 months. And thank you. And strategically and slow for a reason, because I believe like scaling is good, but I wanted to build community, like what Peggy's done for you all. So when you create community for people, you create a mirror for them to show them who they are, they've always been and who they are, right? And when you show people who they are, rather than teaching them how to be order takers, but you actually are teaching them how to generate revenue and to be happier at home and to keep their commitments with their family, and that family is first, and help them make money, they love you, one. But two, they're just happy. They're happy. And happiness, I called one of my agents yesterday. She was supposed to be at one of my listings to meet the seller, and one of my admins, my project manager, was meeting her there. And my project manager, he knows that he's my silo. So the agents will go to him and confide in him about something that they don't want to face the music and tell me, but then he'll tell me, oh, let me let Jess know. And so it helps kind of reinforce, like, no, rip the Band-Aid off, like just be, you know, just show up, be who you are, like you made a mistake or whatever it is. So he group texts, he's like, hey, Donica's running a few minutes late, but I'll be here, I'll run in with the coffees. And I called Donica on the phone and I said, hey, Donica, I said, remember, being 2 minutes late doesn't matter. What matters is if you show up and apologize, and a sorry is the first thing you say to someone, that's the energy that you're creating in that initial connection. So what I do, and then I'll just use use it as a teaching moment. Like what I do is I let people know if I'm coming from, you know, an hour away, that I'll be there between 8:55 and 9:05. Big deal. I just buckled my seatbelt. I love this video. This is a video that really increases our conversions of not having people cancel appointments. Is we'll actually send them a video. We call it the seatbelt video. I learned this from Andrew Warburton, who's like one of the top luxury teams in California. You know who Andrew is, right, Peggy?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they tell me about this video. We're sharing ideas of like what we do in our teams for videos, and he calls it the seatbelt video. So an hour before any appointment, or maybe even a couple hours, you send a video and you're like, hey, just want to let you know, I just clicked my seatbelt. I'm locked in. I'm headed to you, and I'll be there in about an hour. I look forward to meeting you at blah, blah, blah. Isn't that incredible? So it's a fantastic video. But the point is like, again, and I didn't answer your question directly. What was your name? I only see your website. I'm sorry.
Is that me?
Yes.
Tucker,
What's your name?
Tucker is my nickname.
Okay, cool. Good to meet you, Tucker. I love the question. So I guess, you know, it's similar to like why I stay at EXP versus why I joined. Like a lot of agents want to learn from me because I've listed over 100 homes personally this year. But the reason why they stay on the team is because of the community that I create for them, and because of the mentorship that I provide. And my agents, they love each other too. They interact, they help each other. And the things that I've learned about how to lead a team, most of the things I've learned from them. You know, like for example, I didn't think that 15-minute power-up meetings in the morning would make a difference in their life. But the movement that we get and that we've created from those 15-minute power-up meetings is incredible. Just little things, like little adjustments in the morning. For example, I have one agent, she came in super hot into the business. She came from, she was working for Mercedes as a corporate, I can't remember exactly what she did, but she came from a corporate background, and she's just very like like dots the I's, crosses the T's on everything, like very structured in her day. And so coming into real estate, she's like, I need to have a schedule. Like, I need to have a schedule. So we created a schedule. So second open house she does when she joins my team, she had a listing appointment, 2 listing appointments the next day on Sunday. Listed one of the homes, made an offer on my listing, and then sold them concurrently. At following weekend gets another listing. And so she's joined my team like within the last 2 months. She's listed 4 homes, and she's got a ton of buyers in contract. Yes, and it's these little adjustments. Like, for example, going to the listing appointment on the Sunday, the first conversation was, well, I only want to sell my home if I could sell it for $975,000. I'd love to sell mine. I fixed it up, and I want to buy this one because it's bigger, and I'd love to stay on the street. The house is not worth $975,000. So she lists the house for under $900,000. But that was based on a conversation that I had with her, Tucker, about how to walk the seller through the net sheet and what that would mean for her purchasing power if they are to sell now and buy the home. And just came from like an education standpoint. She went very prepared. And I always have the agents ask the client, why is it that you invited, I'd love to get feedback on this. What is the reason that you invited me to come into your home for this interview and this opportunity? And the answer that this seller had was because of the way you made me feel when I walked into the open house.
Bingo.
Right, Peggy?
Bingo,
It's so simple,
bingo,
guys,
bingo.
ladies. It's just so simple. So this slide is, be a connector for people. I don't know what to give. I'm a brand new agent. I don't really know how I can help people. I love to be known, and I love to even refer to myself as a master at connecting people, master connector. Like networking's cool, but there's a difference between being a connector and a networker, right? So like Peggy is a connector, because when she's at events, she's like, wait a second. Okay, you're doing that, and then you do this. Okay, I got to bring you in, and you can help and pour into my community. And then I'm doing this project, and we can do this. That's a connector, right? For me, I literally am starting to map out my entire EXPCon schedule. Okay, like sometimes, like I'm my own handler, but somebody's got to do it, right? So I've got my spreadsheet. It's like, okay, I got to be here at this time. And then I need to set a meeting with that person. Who's their person? Okay, reach out to them, and I'm going to put this together because I'm intentional about why I'm going to EXPCon. It's a big investment, right? All of these events that we go to, they're investments. So for me, I make my list. And this is one of the challenges that I made for myself this past quarter, was that I always kind of like jump to all the places that I want to serve. It's just that's how I am. And what I've been trying to train myself to do is to keep my short list of people that have said to me, Jess, if you ever need anything, Jess, is there anything I can do for you? Reach out to me sometime. Or, hey, I'm so glad to be connected. It's great to meet you. I'd love to connect further. Anyone that says that to me, I have them on a list. And I've been reaching out to those people and saying, and I think of like, what's the 5-minute mentor, right? So like, maybe you're not going to hire someone and pay them $200,000 next year to be your coach, but there might be one problem that they can help you solve that they've already solved. And you can call and ask, hey, would you like to grab a cup of coffee and just like a quick, 20-minute Zoom? Do you have 20 minutes? You don't have to ask people for an hour. You don't even have to ask them for 30. That's one of my tricks, is I ask for 15 or 20. And that's actually a hack that I do as well for others. So when people want to chat with me, and I'll give them 15 minutes. But if people want to continue to ask for my time, but they don't implement the things that I share with them to do, I won't give them any more time, because my time is something that I can't get back. The only way I'll give them access to me is by, hey, come to my mastermind. And then if they don't come 4 weeks in a row, when it's like a whole hour of my time, then they stop asking me for my time, right? Bill's like, yeah, Bill, I'm not the person that would have ever done that. And that's how I started to get burned out in this business. Started to get burned out because I kept giving people my time.
Mhm.
So like creating those little tiny adjustments and those little rules for myself have really been a change. Be different. So the next one is how can you show up differently? We talked about being a connector, but be different. Like, how do we be different? Well, how we're different is just by being ourselves, right? And I think, you know, when the question came about, like the buzzword of like, be your authentic self. What is your value proposition? All the realtors were like, what? Right? Like, what are you talking about? So how we could be different is showing up with our energy, right? And so if you show up at an appointment, you're like, hey, nice to meet you. You know, it's like, it doesn't mean you have to be the most charismatic person in the world to be likable, but be you, right?
Mhm.
And I'll just give you an example is like integrating yourself into everywhere you are will bring you more joy. Like people talk about balance. There's no effing such thing.
Right.
There's no balance in life, right, Peggy?
Exactly. Yeah.
There isn't. Guy, what do you think? Is it like there's always a perfect way to balance stuff? We're entrepreneurs. There's no perfect balance, but there are boundaries, right? There are boundaries that we create, and we can integrate ourselves. I have an agent that I coach that reached out to me, and she's like, Jess, thank you so much. This is really working for me. She's like, I'm working so late, and then I get sucked in, and then it's the home stuff, and then I'm burned out, and I don't want to get up early. I'm not a morning person, but like I'm still going for 12 hours. And I said, well, what if you just stop for an hour during the day and you go for a walk? Or you go out and treat yourself to maybe like go sit at the sushi bar. Just like grab some sushi for an hour. What would that do for you? And she's like, it changed my life. Like give yourself permission to integrate fun and joy into your day and to integrate who you are into everywhere you show up. This is like kind of a Debbie Downer story, but I want to share it for a reason. I was at an event where there was a couple and they were walking past like in a big area. I'm not even going to name the event because it doesn't matter. They're walking past me and they're like, hey, Jessica. And they kept walking. And I'm like, that's not really how you say hi to someone and you're at a national conference that you like. And I'd never met them in person, ever. I've never even talked to these people, ever. And I thought to myself, awesome job, dude. Like, really good job. You're so loud about who you are that people that don't like you, they just repel away from you. Like beads of water off my skin. So when I mean be who you are, you know, unapologetically be who you are. Because there are so many freaking people in this world to do business with, to be friends with. Right, Peggy? Like we don't have to be less than who we are. And if you have integrity, and you are who you are, then it doesn't matter. So that's my big takeaway that I hope you guys take with you today. Be the energy and be the source. You know, those ones are easy, but these are the 4 ways that we're getting business. So really want you to think through them and like, be the energy. What does that mean? Just be that person that when you interact with someone, when you're that person that you talk to and you get off the phone and you're like, man, every time I talk to Christy Horton, I just feel better. I just feel great. Or like when I hang up the phone with Judy, I just feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Because when I talk to Yvonne, I feel seen. Nobody says that. Like I really feel seen by her. That feels so cheesy, but that actually is the reason. Because that's the human connection, is an exchange of energy. I love the story of like going into the coffee shop, and when you say, you know, when someone says good morning to you, you say, good morning, how are you? And then rather than saying, like in Los Angeles, you know, how the realtors are, they're like, hey, Jessica, how are you? I'm calling about 123 Main Street. How many offers you got? I'm like, did you just ask me how I am? I don't feel like it. right? So, you know, Watson, when you go get coffee, you just seem like such a nice guy. So maybe you already do this, or Monica, maybe you do this. But when you go in, it's like, good morning, how are you?
Mhm.
And then you leave space for someone to freaking respond to you. You can change their whole day, maybe save their life. It's powerful stuff because people feel
Jessica,
seen by you. Yeah.
are we able to share, to add to what you're saying?
Please, yeah. Yes.
Very recently, when I had an open house, across the street was another agent who had a listing open house as well. She had a multi, had a single, different brokerage. And I went up to her because we were by ourselves, and to be safe, I went up to
Great.
her, and we were posting our signs, whatever. I was putting balloons out. I said, hi, my name is Dee Dee. I'm with eXp Realty. I have an open house right directly across from you. Wanted to introduce myself just in case that you need some help, or I see you're by yourself. Know that you're safe. I have another agent with me, so we can swap, and I can cover just back going to the bathroom, whatever. She was a little
Love
sour
that.
at the beginning. She was like, I'm okay. I said, well, just know that I'm across the street, and I hope you don't mind my bright balloons. And she's like, well, I hope you don't mind that I piggied off your open house, because I haven't had anybody calling for my listing. I said, you can piggyback on whatever I have anytime. This is a community, and we have to help each other. By the end of the day, she came over to my listing, my open house, sat in the living room because it was staged, hers wasn't. And she was comfortable, took off her shoes, and said, do you mind if I stay here for a little bit while we close down? Did you close down? I said, I don't mind at all. And she was really good. And I think it helped with agent attraction because she's been in touch, and she likes the way that EXP does everything. And she's been in the business
Feels like
for,
she's on an island.
yeah, she was by herself, and it really helped. And then for the second day, because she goes, wow, you're an early bird. Your open house is at 11. I'm like, yeah, it's more energy. The sun is out. It's beautiful. Next day, she greeted me. I said, good morning, Dee Dee. And she was totally different energy. At first, she was
You're like, girl,
standoffish.
who are you? She's like just
First thing,
tiptoeing into collaboration and then just jumps all the way in.
yes, it's like let's make it a block party. We have balloons. People
Yeah.
are coming by. You're different.
like-
Your property's different. The buyer ultimately decides. So send me yours. I'll send you mine, and they decide which one they want to buy. And that's how I got my buyer on that open house, because it was a very
Oh,
electrifying
love
day.
that.
The second day was a lot of energy, and we were actually shouting across the way, I'm sending you another one, Rachel. And she's like, I'll send you the next. So it
I
was
absolutely love
fantastic.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, I
so
love
it was
that.
great. Her energy did change, and you made a great point, Jessica. Your energy is contagious. Yours here today is contagious. And so whatever we put out, we get back, and I believe that so much.
I
Oh,
love that, Dee Dee, so much. It's such a good share. And what you got, Tucker?
oh, your energy is just okay, Jessica.
Well, it's so perfect what Dee Dee said, because it finished it really brought it, like, closed the loop for me that I wanted to share, was what you get back. You receive it back. And so when you leave that space for people and you actually like treat them like a human being, and what they crave in their life is connection, human connection, right? And what you receive back is that energy exchange of them going like, oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you? Guess what? That's the exchange right there.
Jessica, I just want to piggyback on a couple of things because I want to be mindful of everybody's time. One of the things I love open houses. If I could do open houses every day of the week, I would do them. So when you come back to Carlsbad, let me know. But what people forget, and you brought it up, is when you are on an open house and someone is walking through, the person walking through is definitely interviewing you. That's your first interview with that potential
100%.
listing. And then if you're driving over there and you're pissy about traffic or this, that, and the other thing, I always taught in my night classes or anything else that I've coached with, what music are you listening to? going over there? What's the attitude that you're showing up when you're going out? That connection part is so important. So talking about getting more listings, let's get right to the crust of that, because that's what these guys need going into this year.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And that's why I wanted to share with you about open houses, because that's where we're generating most of our listings on the team.
100%.
So number one. But number two is, and like I said, I'll send you the standard operating procedure that we have. It's like step by step, is connecting with the neighbors. And like you said, Peggy, it's showing that the sellers in the neighborhood how you're going to sell their home.
Yes.
So for example, one of the sellers or the leads that Julie got at her open house this weekend was actually a woman that walked into the open house and she goes, "I'm going to call the police if you guys don't figure out the parking. Like, it's getting insane out there." And so what did she do is she when she locked up, they went and apologized to her and let her know, like, literally, we had no idea it was going to be so crazy, interacted, and they set an appointment to talk. So here's the other thing that I would give you in terms of listings is, and I don't know that my slide was showing, so I apologize for that, is think about the problems that you can solve. And one of the biggest problems that we can solve is to get good information and education out to consumers right now, because all they hear is bad news on the news, right? Oh, you can see my screen, right? Yes.
Yeah,
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I have a couple screens going here, so I wasn't quite sure. So what I want to challenge you all to do is to make these calls today. Number one, you're going to call your lender or the 3 lenders that you work with. Okay. And I want you to ask them, I want you to educate yourself on 1 to 2, or maybe even 3, but at least 2 new loan products that you don't know enough about. And identify what problems those loan products provide, or what solutions those loan products provide, and what kind of consumer they're a match for. Right? So for example, like if the objection is, I can't sell because, okay, what solves that problem? Right? I want to wait until after the election because, I want to wait until after the rates go down because, like, none of these reasons are reasons. They have a reason why they need to buy or sell. So how can you solve the problem? The next people I want you to put on your list that maybe you haven't called often enough are the vendors that touch all of your business. Okay, so don't forget them, because guess what? As entrepreneurs, as real estate agents, we have Peggy Delano to bring us together into mastermind. How many entrepreneurs do you know, or business owners, that own the termite company, that own the retrofit business, that own the foundation company, that don't have another entrepreneur reaching out to them and asking them, hey, what are you looking at for 2025? What are your goals for next year? What problems are you trying to solve in your business? Oh, you need a new employee? Oh, let me help you with that. Be their favorite person that helps, that just gives a snap about them, right? Like, call and check on them, but not just, hey, you got any referrals?
Right.
Like, how can you serve? Right?
Just
okay,
please repeat that. That's one of the most important things, is that we need to call people first, asking how we can help them, versus calling your sphere of influence and saying, hi, you know anyone who wants to buy or sell real estate? Without asking them first. Stop it. Yep.
So one of the ways that we're also generating at least appointments or nurtures is we have a vendor list that we've created that has all like people that help with any type of life event. So party planners, decorators, mobile car cleaners, whatever it is, we have like a whole list. But guess what's on there? The type of company, the service they provide, and that's it, with our information. And it's like a concierge service. Like, hey, text us if you need a referral for our top rated favorite connections and network of vendors. Text this number and we will connect and introduce you.
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking gold. Oh, you're having a birthday party? Or you're having a baby shower? Oh, your daughter's getting married? Oh, interesting. That's like a no-brainer. So we nurture with that. We also, like, for example, when it got really hot, well, it's still hot in some places. I don't know what's going on. The weather's crazy, but when it first got really hot in the summer in Los Angeles, we would call our sphere of influence and say, hey, we're calling around in our sphere and connecting, or you could even just cold call with this script and say, hey, I'm Jessica Nieto with eXp Realty, and we are reaching out to our local community. We have called through an entire list of HVAC vendors, and we've identified a few that have openings this week to provide service or to come diagnose any type of, repair that you need. So I just wanted to reach out. I'm going to send this over to you. Where's a good place to send it? And they're like, what? You're calling to help me? So again, it's like solving problems and creating opportunities for conversations that are proactive and that are leading with value. The next question we talked about earlier was, what transformations can you provide? Confident, informed clients. People love process. So one of the ways that we take someone that says that's a maybe or a future seller to a now seller is by guiding them through the process. Guys, people do not fear change. They fear transition to change. They need a plan. Like, you have two people that retire and husband wants to move to Tennessee and wife's never going to leave California. But they're quite a few really personal conversations away from understanding what they want to do. And you're not going to be in those conversations. So rather than dividing them or overselling in one direction, you could provide lots of information and show them what the transition would look like. And they're going to have more productive conversations without you. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Community, we talked about that. Raving fans that refer, that one's easy. Also referrals. So the two of the listings that we got in the last few months were actually for asking were from asking for business from people while we're at the listing appointment. We ask 7 times from the time that we connect with someone until the time, like during the time that we transact, we ask 7 times. That sounds ridiculous, right? What's funny is that what we've tracked is that it's actually usually the second or third time that we ask that they think of someone. Oh, yeah, actually, I was talking to the neighbor down the street and they said they're actually thinking about maybe down the road moving. I could connect you. And then a quick tip that I want to give you all as we wrap up is, when you train people to give you referrals, so get out of the habit of giving people business cards. Don't give people business cards. You can, but this is what you say. Listen, mom, like your favorite fan, right? Or auntie, when you're at work and Bob says, hey, I was looking at the real estate market. I'm not really sure. I'm thinking like we probably need to get a bigger house, but I don't know if it's the right time. Well, auntie's going to know that she's going to say, Bob, I'm so glad that you brought this up to me, because I have got the perfect person that'll be a resource to you and you can connect and talk about the market. She's no pressure. And I want to get you two connected. Let me go ahead and send a group text now. What's your cell number again? It sounds crazy to train people to do this, but I'm telling you it works. And it's fantastic. So now you're in the driver's seat. It's not, hey, here's her number, because they're not going to call you. So remember, what type of legacies can you help build? Homeowners, wealth, business owners. Business owners create more entrepreneurs. So I appreciate you all. And remember that time is not your problem. Time's not your problem. It's where you put your attention. It's what you focus on. It's what you're intentional about. So if you want to get your time back, get rid of the stuff that you don't enjoy doing and do more of what you love and what you're good at, and get even better at what you're good at. Be excellent and move at the speed of implementation. Whatever you think is awesome, if you heard one little nugget today that you're like, you know what, I'm going to make that adjustment, or I'm going to sit with myself and ask myself that question. What is the one belief that I have about myself? It sounds so stupid, but what belief do I have about myself that is not true? I'm going to sit for 10 minutes and think about that question today. Whatever it is, implement it today. And that's where you can grow. So thank you so much, Peggy. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Watson. Thanks, Dee Dee. Appreciate you. Stacy, I didn't see you come on video, but thank you.
Amazing time with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. And you know, I need to say this because we were talking about how we met real quickly. When you talk about manifesting, I had just talked to my coach the day before, putting out goals that I wanted. And one of them was I wanted to be on EXP radio. And who did I need to meet to be on EXP radio? And 24 hours later, I actually had Jessica make a video with me to send to my coach saying, oh my gosh, I put this out yesterday and I'm going to be on EXP radio. So yes, guys, believe in it. You can have any listing you want. You can do anything you want. And that's one of the questions. You don't believe enough in yourself. So
yeah. And set the goal high. Like whatever you
Yeah.
shoot at, you're most likely going to hit it. So if you want to manifest something, go real big and ridiculous.
I love all you guys being on here. Jessica, we'll talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll get
Take
this
care,
posted on
everyone.
Workplace. All right.
Bye,
Thank you,
Monica.
Jessica. Thank
Good to
you.
see you,
Thanks,
Tucker.
guys.
Bye, Judy. Have a good day.
Bye.
See you
You're
guys soon.
worthy.
Bye,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mary
Peggy.
Ellen.
Bye, Jessica.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.